Right, hey guys, Thogden here, and welcome back to a brand new video. Now today, it's going to be a tough one because we're going through every Premier League club and picking one player they should sell today. Are you ready?
I know, we have to be really harsh today. There's going to be loads of players who will hate us.
Don't slaughter us too much in the comments section, but let us know if we got it wrong and what we should have put. What's the like target today?
Well, the like target, because you're wearing that lovely shirt, is 10,000.
Yeah, I've gone all smart today. I feel like I'm the board. You know what I feel like? I'm part of a club board about to tell a player they're going to have to absolutely leave.
Shall we start with Arsenal Football Club? And I've gone for a centre-back. He cost 27 million quid from St Etienne, William Saliba. Now he's going out on loan to Marseille. And I'm just thinking, if you buy a player for that much and you don't use him, maybe you cash in on him.
Interesting.
Saliba.
Well, I've gone with a probably more popular option. I think a lot of Arsenal fans will agree with me, at least I hope so. I've gone for WILLIAN, the winger. He needs to get out. It's as simple as that. He's getting on. He's on a big wage. They could free up some space to a player that actually wants to fight for the badge. It's an absolute no-brainer for me. WILLIAN, get out.
Well, I kind of agree, but they've made a very expensive mistake there. I think they've got him for 3 years. He's not going anywhere.
You think so?
Yeah, he's not going anywhere. He's going to sit there, pick up his wages, and let's hope he can do better this year, because I tell you what, in his day, he was a really good player.
I know you always support him, but I just don't see it. He has to go.
Aston Villa now. I'm going for a man who cost 20-odd million from Bruges a couple of years ago. He's been injured a lot. He's hot-headed, and he's only got 5 goals in 2 years. Wesley.
Completely agree with you. Poor attitude. He's not good enough anyway. They just need to get him sold.
Brentford now. I've gone for a left winger called VALENCIA. Now, he came from the Polish league 2 years ago, and he's not really getting game time. And there's some good wingers in that Brentford team. I mean, last season he was out on loan at Legia Warsaw, wasn't he, Theo?
Yeah, he was. He's always been a bit of a fringe player at Brentford. He's never really got regular first-team football. So, unfortunately, he's at the back of the pecking order. I don't think he'll get much game time. You might as well sell him.
Brighton and Hove Albion now, and I've gone for a centre-back called Dan Burn. And I hate to do this. He's been a good servant over 3 years. He came from Wigan, but he's getting on, and I think he's going to warm the bench. So maybe time to sell him.
I think he's a good backup at Brighton. I think you've got this one wrong. There's a lot of times last season where Dan Burn, everyone slated him, giving him stick, but he's actually been all right. He's putting a shift. So I could not put Dan Burn in this video. I've gone for JURGEN. Now, he's a player who cost him 15 million euros. And he simply hasn't lived up to expectations. He's not been good enough. He doesn't get in the team anymore. They might as well get him out, save the wages, off your pop.
Burnley now, and it has to be MATEJ VYDRA. He came from Derby. I think it was for 11 million 3 years ago. He's got 9 goals in 3 years. That ain't good enough. Time to go. And he can go somewhere elsewhere. He used to score loads of goals in the Championship there.
It's a good choice, but he is basically their backup striker if Wood or Barnes get injured, right? Yes. So it's a little bit worrying if you were to sell the backup. Having said that, that's the reason. For Burnley, I've gone with nobody.
Ooh.
They've got the thinnest squad in the Premier League, the lowest budgets, the lowest cost. They can't afford to sell anyone. I look through their squad, they simply need to hold on to every player. If anything, they need to buy more. So come on, Sean Dyche, come on, Burnley board, get on with it.
Chelsea now, I've gone with a man who cost 34 million 4 years ago from Leicester. A lot of people have forgotten him. Danny Drinkwater. He's just not got onto the pitch too much. Sell him on.
Who would want him? He's old, he's finished, he's, had some bad situation. Listen, I've gone for a player that Chelsea can actually sell, because there's clubs out there who could do with a striker who can bag goals. He's proven it in his career. You know what I'm talking about? Tammy Abraham.
No, you are not selling Tammy Abraham.
Hey, hear me out, Thogdad. The reason I've picked him is they've got way too many forward options. They've got Hudson-Odoi, Ziyech, Werner, Havertz, Mount. I mean, the list goes on.
He said Werner.
Under Tuchel, he doesn't get in the squad. So you might as well cash in on 20, 30 million, because you know he's a well-known goal scorer. For the best of his career as well, he could go on to maybe do something.
Crystal Palace now, and this lad came from Wigan 7 years ago, and he's been a brilliant servant, nearly 300 Premier League games, but he's 33 years old. James McArthur, we applaud you, but maybe it's time to go back to Hamilton or the Scottish League or the Championship.
Fair play. Well, I didn't really think of him. I'd kind of forgotten about him by now, so maybe it is time to sell. But I've gone for Martin Kelly, who's 31 years old, centre-back. didn't really play last year for Palace, and now that they've signed some very young, talented centre-backs like Joachim Andersen, Mark Guehi, who we know are going to get game time, he's right down the pecking order, because you've got the likes of Kouyaté still there, Tompkins, they're going to be, he's basically 5th choice now, so get him out, sell him.
Everton now, I've gone for a lad who was wonderful at Leeds as a kid, but now FABIAN DELPH is not really performing. He got 261 minutes in the Premier League last season. If you're not using him, get rid of him.
Dad, have you just picked FABIAN DELPH because he's anti-vax?
Is he? I have no idea about that.
Yeah, he is. He's anti-vax.
Yeah. No, look, he was a great player back in the day, but if you're just going to sit on the bench, what is the point there?
Yeah, fair play. Well, I do actually agree with you. He's simply not good enough. He's getting on. You might as well free up some space, won't you?
Leeds United now, and it just has to be Adam Forshaw. Now, this lad, a lot of you will be saying, who's that? He came from Middlesbrough for $5 million 3 years ago. He's just not playing, is he, Theo?
Yeah, well, that's funny. You might as well get him gone if he's not playing. I've gone for Helder Costa, who did get some game time last year, but he wasn't good enough. He's not up to the scratch of what Bielsa wants to play at. So therefore, you might as well get him out and bring in, well, at least play someone like Poveda, who's younger, wants to fight for the shirt, try and get in the team.
I would keep him on the bench. I know a lot of Leeds fans suggested him, and I know Poveda is probably the better, certainly the younger player. I'd keep Costa just in case. It's a long season, there might be injuries.
You might as well bring Thogden in as a manager. Bye-bye Bielsa, you know what I mean?
Leicester City now, and this man cost 30 million from Newcastle United 2 years ago, AVOZE PEREZ. Now the thing about him, he's a striker being played as a right winger. Leicester have just brought in Daka. It's just not working for him, is it?
Well, let's be real, this was the most suggested option of the video. The amount of times we saw Leicester City fans comment to us saying, put AVOZE PEREZ as the player you need to sell.
It is a mystery because last season 2 goals, 1 assist. He got plenty of game time. He's just not performing. He's a good player, Theo.
I thought he was quite good at the likes of Newcastle, parts of Leicester. It's weird how he's declined because his pre-season games have been awful. So I agree, AVOZE PEREZ, get out.
Liverpool now, and this centre-forward has only got 19 Premier League goals in 7 years. He's got some important Champions League goals. DIVOCK, Origi, it's time to go. And I feel sorry for the lad because he's only 26. I'd like to see him somewhere else, Championship or a European league. I want to see him score goals. I want to see him play.
Dad, well, let's be real here. How is he still in a Liverpool shirt? The guy's finished. He's not good enough for Liverpool Football Club anymore. He had good moments back in the day where he helped Liverpool against Everton, Champions League, Barcelona, we all know it. Trent, you know, taking it quickly in the corner. But he's not good anymore, and we've got to stop looking in the past.
Yeah, Liverpool need to make a lot of changes over the next 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, don't know why they're selling Wijnaldum, or at least letting him go and holding on to Origi. Where's the balance
logic
there? Yeah.
Man City now, and I've had to go for Benjamin Mendy. Let's not forget, he cost 52 million quid. He's played 49 Premier League games in 4 years. He's injury prone, he's prone to a mistake, and he's not getting better, is he, Theo?
I don't know why the man's still in a Manchester City shirt, the most expensive, you know, one of the best clubs in the world. How is this guy still in the squad?
Agreed. I mean, Zinchenko is being preferred these days, and quite rightly, I think.
Yeah, he's got a better attitude, Zinchenko. Fighting for the shirt more. He's obviously less injury prone than Benjamin Mendy. You've just got to get him out, or at least loan him out, sell him, just do something. The guy doesn't belong in a City shirt anymore, I'm sorry.
Manchester United now, this was the easiest one, Phil Jones. Now, he's played 200 times in the Premier League, but not recently. He's been at the club a decade. I was amazed when they gave him a new contract there.
We've made memes, we've made jokes, but it's gone past the banter kind of part now. It's got to a point where it's embarrassing that this guy's still knocking about in a Manchester United shirt. It's funny for the outsider that he's still on a crazy wage bill, doing nothing but cashing it in.
And it's a shame, really. As a man, I would say to him, go somewhere where you're going to play every week.
It's going to be such a reduction in wages.
Yeah.
He's happy to sit there, do nothing, and rake it in. It's a weird little system, but get him out.
Newcastle now, and when will you admit that Joe Linton was an expensive mistake?
Not
40 million quid. No. 6 goals. I know people say he works hard. 40 million quid, you're buying goals. He doesn't score them, time to go.
You will never see me put Joe Linton in a time to go video. He's not going. He fights for the shirt. A price tag is not his fault.
But the thing is, Theo, back in the Bundesliga days, he scored goals. He'd score a goal every 4 games. He should go somewhere, get game time, and put the ball in the net, like a centre-forward should.
The system he was in the German league is completely different to Newcastle. He still fights. He still gives it 100%, and I respect that. You don't want to sell a player that wants to fight for the crest. And therefore, I've gone for a player who, since his debut, has been utter crap and doesn't really care. Jeff Hendrick. Signing a player from Burnley, I wouldn't expect the most wonderful signing in the world, but he had a very good debut,
yes.
And since then he's done nothing. And I think the Newcastle fans will agree with me to say, get him out.
Norwich City now, and I've gone for a defensive midfielder called Tom Tribal. Now, he's a German lad who's a reasonable championship player who's on loan at Blackburn Rovers, but he's not quite Premier League standard.
Understandable, really. They've got quite a few of these players. I've gone for someone different because of the position. Christoph Zimmermann, centre-back, of course, and I think they could do with a new centre-back who's pretty solid. So sell him, free up the space, bring in someone new.
Southampton now, and I've picked a left winger called Nathan Redmond, who these days is on big wages and he's just not performing. 2 goals, 3 assists last season. It's not good enough.
He simply only performs in, a cup game versus a championship side. Then he'll go 15 games without anything, and that is not what the Saints need. They need players that will do it every single game. The likes of Nathan Teller should be starting over Redmond. So get him out, free up the space. He's not good enough anymore, and he's not exactly the youngest either.
Tottenham Hotspur and have had to go for Serge Aurier, who came for 22 million 4 years ago from PSG, and quite simply, he's not lived up to expectations. Now, on his day, he's an absolute handful, and I love him, but he's not consistent, is he, Theo?
Since the moment that I saw him wearing a Man United shirt in some game he had with his friends a few weeks ago, I thought, yeah, his passion, it can't be at Spurs anymore, so you might as well get him gone. And I've gone for a different player. I've gone for Moussa Sissoko. Now, if you told me this a few years ago, I'd say you're a mug, but now it looks like he doesn't really care.
Yeah.
He has slipped off a little bit. He's not the same player he was before. Oliver Skipp is simply better. So get him out and free up for a youth player who would care more and probably better already.
Watford now, and I've gone for a centre forward who simply doesn't score goals. 2 Premier League goals in 54 appearances. It is Isaac's success. Now, interestingly, he's a Nigerian international who's never scored for his country. He came for a big money, didn't he, 5 years ago?
Not very successful.
Time to move on.
You missed my joke. He's not been very successful.
If you say that again, I'm leaving.
Well, I agree with you. Isaac's success is my player too. He's not really lived up to expectations, is another way to put it without making a silly joke. And therefore you might as well get him sold before the start of the season. And it's Watford. They might want to sign someone in his place to try and stay up anyway. So get the big boys in.
West Ham United now, and this is a weird one because I've gone for Andrei Yarmolenko. Now, he's just lit up the Euros with 2 goals and 2 assists. Back in the day, he was brilliant in the Europa League and in the Champions League. But at West Ham, 10 contributions in 3 years. He doesn't perform in London for his club.
In fairness to him, he never gets regular game time for West Ham. But when he does get, he gets to come on and shows a few minutes, he's probably half the player than he is for West Ham than he is for Ukraine. It's as simple as that. He's so good for Ukraine, but never shows it for the Hammers.
He could get a move elsewhere. I think Galatasaray and Dynamo Kiev are interested. So if you can get some money, let him go.
Absolutely. I think they'd pay it. And he's still got a player in him. I just don't think that player will be shown at West Ham. So we agree. And on to the last club of the video.
Wolverhampton Wanderers, and it's got to be Patrick Cutrone. I mean, he came from AC Milan for 16 million. The expectation was quite high.
He eats the pizza, he eats the pasta.
And all of that.
Anymore,
But Theo, he's got 2 goals in 2 years, and he's just gone out on loan, hasn't he?
Yeah, you can't really sing the chant anymore, can you? He's finished. And I don't know how he's still in a Wolves shirt, because when they signed him, AC Milan 3 years ago, he was meant to fight for that first team spot, and they had a few injuries. He showed himself, but he was never that good. And get him gone. Try and get some money for him and free up some space, because I think his time at Wolves and the Premier League is over.
Thank you for watching. I'm sure we've annoyed lots of players and fans alike.
Yeah, we might have got some wrong. So let us know in the comments which ones we had a bit of a shocker with. But I want to know, what's the like target?
Oh, I said 10,000, but you're probably going to bump it up.
Yeah, we can get 17.543. 17,543, basically. I'm going for that exact number. If we hit it, then Thogdad will sit down here with me and we'll do the away kits ranked for the Premier League, the Champions League, Championship.
Wow.
I put the statement out there, so you guys get the likes in and make sure you subscribe for all those videos we've just mentioned and get those notifications on, because if you don't, you look a bit of a mug. Yeah, you do, really, don't you?
You certainly do.
Right, that's enough from us. See you in a bit. Bye.